What's going on? We're back at it with a lesson on the Sons of Liberty and some protests that are going on. What you need to do is whenever you get to the classroom, you need to do the 10-12 warm up. It's actually 10-13, but I messed up on the date because I'm more bad with numbers. Sorry about that. So make sure you do that. And then the Sons of Liberty note. Now look, that has a star in front of it, which means it is for a grade. You need to turn in the notes that will look completely 100% like this. It's only 7 things we're writing today, so not that important. Also, when I'm going through this, it will be in red as well. So you can feel free to pause it when I'm just going through this, or at the end of the video, I'll give you the opportunity to pause this. Make sure you do that. Make sure you turn it in. So let's talk about the Sons of Liberty and tar and feathering. We'll get to this picture in a second, but right now, let's talk about old Patrick Henry. Now, he was a member of the Virginia House of Burgesses, and he called for a resistance to the tax. A resistance is whenever you were going against something. When you resist something, you're saying, no, that's not the way it should be, and I don't like these taxes. You're taxing us without a representative in Parliament. No taxation without representation. And he was part of the Virginia House of Burgesses. Now, the Virginia House of Burgesses was started in 1619, and it lasted over 150 years. And why did it last? Because representative government works. And all of a sudden, because of the French and Indian War, all of a sudden England is taxing them, but they're taxing them without a representative in Parliament. And that's making these guys super upset, very upset, shall I say. I use the word super too much. I'm going to try and stop doing that. And then you got this word boycott. It's simply a refusal to buy. So let's say you go to a store and the people there treat you rudely and you're like, I'm never coming here ever again. That would be a boycott. And a boycott is a non-violent protest. And it's very important to know the difference between non-violent and violent protests. You see, a boycott is you're just simply refusing to buy. You're not telling that store owner anything bad. You are not like burning down the store or anything crazy like that. The only thing you're doing is you are no longer shopping there anymore, because at the end of the day, what you're doing is you are attacking their wallet. You are keeping money out of their pockets because of the way that they treated you. And so a lot of these colonists would be doing that. They would be boycotting the stamp paper. They wouldn't buy it. They would find another way to do it. And they would write on their own paper and maybe make up these different kind of documents and things like that. And same thing with the sugar, the paper, paint, lead, glass, tea, the Townshend Acts. And they would just boycott. Very effective protest, by the way, specifically because it was nonviolent. Next, you have the Sons of Liberty. This is a secret society. What that means is it was on the lowdown. They kept it hush hush. They didn't really tell anybody. They wouldn't talk about what they talk about unless they were, by themselves, or most importantly, that they were in their own meeting place. Most of these guys were lawyers, or y'all say lawyers here. Lawyers and merchants and craftspeople, the people that mostly affected by the Stamp Act. And what they would do is they would burn the stamp paper anytime they would find that, and that could get pretty violent. And basically they would do that so the tax collector would be run out of town. And as you see down here, it says resign or resignation. In other words, quit. And then you have the tar and feathering. And what they would do is they would get some pine tar. And what they would use the pine tar, and you might be able to see down here, I don't know how well it's shown in the YouTube video, but it says Boston, and Boston is in Massachusetts, and Massachusetts is in the New England colonies, so shipbuilding was a huge deal, and so they would have this pine tar made out of sap from trees, and what they would do with the boats is they would use that pine tar to waterproof the boats so the cracks wouldn't leak and all this stuff. So they'd use that, but they would also use it to tar and feather these people. So they would paint it on them with like little mops, look like kind of mops. They would pour hot tea down their throats. And looking at this picture here, the colonists look like lawless barbarians, as it says right here, lawless barbarians. And so whoever drew this was probably English, and they didn't appreciate the colonies going so crazy with these things. This was really violent stuff. They would pour hot tea down their throat. So imagine if you took some coffee and you burned the end of your tongue. You're like, ow, that hurt. That was awful. Imagine having that forced into your mouth and out of your mouth, going down your cheeks and all this stuff. Horrible, horrible thing that they would do. And the reason why they would do this, like it says here, they would make this guy be embarrassed. They would inflict enough pain to where he would quit, he would leave, he would get out of town, and you can't collect taxes without a tax collector. And so that's what they would do. And then you had Samuel Adams, and we are going to be stuck in Boston for a few days because a lot of major things happened in Boston. The Boston Massacre, the Boston Tea Party, the Intolerable Acts all have to do with Boston and the colony, which will later become the state of Massachusetts. Samuel Adams was the Boston Sons of Liberty. He was the leader of the Boston Sons of Liberty, and a lot of the protests, especially the boycotts and the burning of the stamp paper, was Samuel Adams. That's what you need as far as the notes go. If you want to, you can get onto your, you can hit the pause button here and get the top part. And then I'm going to push it down. And then you can hit the pause button and get the bottom part as well. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things you need to do. So again, the top part, pause it. The bottom part, pause it, and make sure you turn those in. Very important. It's for a grade. And tomorrow we'll have a quiz on the Stamp Act, Sugar Act, Townsend Act, Quartering Act, Proclamation 1763, and of course the Sons of Liberty. So we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. Bye.